Well, I keep having thoughts and thinking with these thoughts that I should write them down and post something like anybody cares, but I don't know. You know how it is when you keep having thoughts and you feel like I got to say this to somebody, but then that means you have to write it down and put it on the internet, and that just seems like a lot of effort and work. So I guess that's why people just start turning on their phones and making videos and talking and posting it. Jesus. I guess it has its purpose. So I had a thought. I was talking to a Jewish friend of mine yesterday, and she was talking about the kind of irrational or possibly rational, visceral, fear stoked by or embedded by generational trauma that is being activated right now. And the feeling of everybody hates the Jews right now. This is not going to go well. And really understanding the feeling as much as I can of what she was experiencing. And I was thinking, this was my thought I was having. I was thinking, yeah, I don't equate Jewish people with the state of Israel. Obviously, we keep saying this, but somehow it's not landing in a way that necessarily makes people feel safe. And I had this thought of okay, so I don't equate Jewish people with the state of Israel, just as I don't equate people, individuals, with their ego defenses. An ego defense is something that is created when a person has been so hurt, as we all have in one way or another. A person or people have been so hurt that in order to feel safe, they must erect an edifice of protection that requires isolation, vigilance, and control. This is what an ego defense is, and this is what the state of Israel is. An individual who's been deeply hurt and erects a strong ego defense lashes out, dominates others. I mean, it's one way that people who have been hurt react with the fight response. Flight is to isolate yourself, create national barriers, boundaries, borders. That's what the word is, borders. So the point is to separate out individually and on state scale, collective scale, global scale, the difference between the individual and the ego defense, the difference between the people and the state. And maybe then there would be less confusion, merging, blending between these two things for our own, recognizing our own ego defenses and other people's ego defenses. Now, here's where the real problem comes in, is when power, as in, a collection of sociopaths, a cult of sociopaths that run the world, right? There is one of them, right? And we're members of this cult. We are members of this cult. But it's when these cult leaders play on people's wounds and hurts and offer protection. Here's a state. Here, let's create this entity using the energy of people's terror and trauma, because they will protect this interest to the death, because it is a matter of life and death for people who have been traumatized in this way. And we'll use all that energy, get everybody all riled up in survival mode to protect our interests, oil, resources. So there's another thing to separate out is individuals, people's, human beings, trauma histories that are hijacked by the cult leaders and used to fuel their agenda of domination. So that was my thought. Oh, I'm so relieved. Now I can go back to being dumb again.